Hi, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about new product development. And I really encourage you to read the textbook to study the different phases of the new product development process because I will be unable to go through the different stages in a comprehensive manner because of the length of this video. All right, so the first stage in the new product development process is idea generation. So when we talk about idea generation, how does a company come up with ideas for new products? So one of the first things that we want to consider is that the new product failure rate is high. So 60% of new products fail. So why is it that so many new products fail? What are some of the reasons? What do you guys think? Well, we know that some products are poorly designed. Some products are introduced to the market with poor timing. So the timing may be off. Sometimes manufacturers or companies overestimate demand for products. So there are a number of reasons why new products fail, right? So what are some ways that a company can ensure success? Probably by coming up with good ideas to begin with. So companies can look to their current employees for ideas. Maybe some of you work for organizations or companies where you've been asked to contribute new product ideas. Companies can, that would be an internal source of information. Companies can also source products or source ideas externally from their distributors, competitors, and even more importantly, from you, their customers, right? So we know that companies like Frito-Lay ask consumers to contribute new product ideas. That's an example of crowdsourcing. So crowdsourcing is when a company turns to the general public to contribute, suggest, make new product recommendations. And I'm going to ask you guys in our second synchronous session to give an example of crowdsourcing. I think it might help spark a lively conversation. So again, crowdsourcing, using consumers to come up with new product ideas. So idea generation is the first step in new product development. The second step is idea screening. Idea screening is when the company comes up with a written, kind of a detailed plan for the new product, probably developing the idea in writing, okay? And that's what we would probably talk about with idea screening. So basically with idea screening, the company is going to take a look at the target market. They're going to take a look at the value proposition, maybe take a look at the competition, and think about, is this idea workable? Is this really a feasible idea? Is it real? Can we win? And is it worth doing? Okay. The next step of the new product development process will be concept testing. Some of you may be familiar with concept testing. When we talk about concept testing, basically the company is going to come up with a version of the idea, generally in written form. This is also when we talk about concept testing, we can also think about, in some instances, companies invest money to come up with a physical rendering of the product. So if we think about some of the automobiles that we see at the auto show, those are concept cars, right? And the most important thing that we want to keep in mind with concept testing is that brands, companies want to gauge consumers' reaction to their product. So either they're going to come up with a symbolic representation of the product or a physical representation of the product. The next stage of the new product development process would be marketing strategy. And this is when the company is going to look at market share, project profitability for the product, maybe within the first few years. Then they're going to take a look at pricing, distribution, and the overall marketing budget for the product. So basically, they're going to take a look at all elements of the marketing mix and look at profitability. How much is it going to cost them to manufacture the product? How much is it going to cost them to promote or advertise the product, to distribute it? And what will be the profits? What will be the remaining profits after they subtract the cost, right? The next stage is business analysis. And this is when a company is going to invest in extensive profit projection. Okay, so they're going to look at sales, they're going to look at cost, and they're going to look at profit projections. And they're going to try to come up with an idea of the minimum and maximum sales that would be needed or would be required to minimize their risk. Okay, so they're going to look at minimum and maximum sales needed to manage risk involved with introducing their new product, right? So this is going to involve marketing, R&D, operations, accounting, and finance, all working together to determine the viability of the proposed product. The next stage of the new product development process is actual product development. When we talk about product development, again, this is where a company decides, are they going to create an actual physical product, right? So this can be very expensive. R&D may come up with one or more physical renderings of the products. Products can undergo rigorous testing in order to make sure that they're safe. We know if we look at the pharmaceutical industry, that's one industry that invests a significant amount of money into the new product development process overall. When we talk about electric cars, or maybe even more importantly, self-driving automobiles, we know that numerous automobile manufacturers are looking into introducing self-driving vehicles. And so at this point in time, we know that there are a number of self-driving vehicles that are going through the product development process. One of the last stages of the new product development process is test marketing. This is where you actually allow consumers to try the products, maybe in a limited area. So our Starbucks on Chicago Avenue is a test market, or has been a test market location for Starbucks, where they've tried out breakfast products, etc. We know the author talks about Taco Bell, the fact that it took them 3 years and 45 prototypes before they came up with Doritos Locos Tacos. Starbucks took 20 years before they developed the Via instant coffee. So test marketing, again, is usually done in a limited geographic area, and it gives the customer or the brand, it gives the company or the brand a better perspective of how consumers will react to their particular product. The last stage of the new product development process, drum rolls please, is commercialization. So this is when you launch a product into the market. So as you guys think about your new products for your marketing plan project, some of the factors that you want to consider: timing. When is the best time of the year to introduce your product? Will you introduce your product locally, nationally, or maybe even internationally? We know, again, when we talk about Apple spent $38 million on TV advertising, introducing the Apple Watch. Tide spent $150 million introducing Apple Tide Pods. So commercialization can be very expensive. That is why companies want to invest time in test marketing in order to minimize the risk involved. So again, I would encourage you to read over, to study the different stages of the new product development process, because it's difficult for me to summarize it with respect to the video. Just to kind of go over the different stages: idea generation, idea screening, concept testing and development, marketing strategy, business analysis, product development, test marketing, and lastly, commercialization.